Well, hello, friends. I am Julie, a knitting enthusiast and yoga teacher coming to you from Eastern Pennsylvania with my very first podcast. And if you're like me, when I sit down to relax with my knitting, I check out many knit and yarn podcasts and websites, and each have a different vibe, and they come from all over the world, which is really nice because that appeals to my love of travel. Well, I'd like to be one of your go-to spots for calming content as we explore some of my knit projects, in addition to some wellness for knitters, specifically seated stretches, and also some local interest from the area around here where I live, and maybe also some occasional travel because I love to travel. I've enjoyed that blend of content from other just ordinary life knitters, and I'd like to share that with you. I teach a few yoga classes a week at a local studio, and at the YMCA, I have several classes for seniors and chair yoga. And I think knitting and yoga share a common thread that both are practices that foster mindfulness, creativity, and a sense of peace. In this episode, I'd like to show you a finished top, a brief description of my knitting journal with some photos from the past, and a seated stretch, optional stretch, and share a video from the local area here where I live. So now that you've heard the goals for my podcast, let's dive into what I'm wearing today. My most recently finished project was this Mellow Mood top by Julia Piro. That is spelled Piro. It's a lovely summer top down construction, and then a detail on the raglan sleeves. It's not complicated. It's a very easy kind of mindless knit, and the detail along the side gave it a little bit of interest as you're knitting all the way around, that you get to do this on the sides. So really nice, easy pattern. There are short row shaping in the back after the split of the sleeves, kind of in the mid back. So that's a nice placement for that. The yarn I used was the recommended yarn. So that is Sandnes Garn Lena, and it is in the colorway Kit, which is putty in Norwegian. The yarn is made up of 53% cotton, 14% linen, and 33% viscose. So really, really nice yarn. A lot of people have talked about how nice this is to work with, and I would certainly agree, and there are lots of nice colors too. I just wanted something really neutral to go with a lot of things for summertime. I did knit this on a US 4 and 6 needles, so I would really recommend this pattern, and this yarn was lovely to work with. I'll share a bit of my knitting journey, hopefully made interesting by including some photos from the past. I certainly wouldn't place myself in the expert knitting role. I'm just an ordinary knitter. I'm not earning money from this channel or selling anything. I'm just knitting for my family and friends as gifts. My work journey over the last 25 years has been as an HR professional, providing leadership in the corporate and nonprofit sectors. And I'm now part-time HR with our county library system and teaching a few yoga classes on the side. My first click, hopefully, to the path toward retirement, which I like to call a reallocation of my time instead of using the word retirement. Am I in age denial? Maybe. Anyway, moving on to how I became a knitter. My Mennonite mother, who sewed custom dresses for local women, taught me how to knit when I was a teenager. She also taught my sisters. Here is her wedding dress that she adapted to meet conservative Mennonite dress standards of the 1950s. She converted it from a swanky McCall's pattern. Notice all the decorative elements that have been omitted in her version of the dress. She also sewed my wedding dress and my husband's wedding shirt, reflecting the fashions of the mid-1970s, such as they were, very casual in comparison to my mother's outfit. I again started knitting after my husband, son, and I moved to Europe, specifically to Budapest, the capital city of Hungary, behind the Iron Curtain, and living in a communist regime at that time. But that's a story for another time, a future episode, if you would like to hear about that. Anyway, a friend from Germany taught me about German wool and needle sizes, and I made several sweaters during that time. As a mom in my 30s, I continued knitting mainly sweaters and scarves for my family, and the only one that survives today is this one, also in German yarn, sort of a reddish burgundy color, maybe dark pink. My career intervened and there was no time for knitting, and until recently, and I continue to create, as I said, an off-ramp for my HR life and make more time for myself. I've been simply amazed at the amount of online resources that developed over the last 25 or 30 years, when in the past we only had knitting books from the library, or maybe a relative or a friend to answer our knitting questions. Popular designs sprung up and I found myself drawn to them, like the Sophie scarf, a lovely pattern for a petite woman like me who can't wear lots of bulky yarn around my neck. The pattern was so gratifying, I actually made 3 of these. My current project is the Step-by-Step Cardigan by Florence Miller. The yarn is Noro Madara in the colorway Yen, which is a gray with some interesting flecks of color, kind of a tweedy, thick, thin fiber that feels dry, but it's really nice to work with. It's 80% wool, 30% silk, and 10% alpaca. Size US 7 and 9 needles are what I'm using, although the cup seems a bit chunky for a petite person like me, so I might rip it out and go down a needle size. I'm really excited to wear this soon, since the fabric has a unique, but it's kind of understated look. And one-of-a-kind item that will fit me perfectly, and that is not always the case when I have sweaters from a store. Usually the arms are too long, so this will be a perfect fit, hopefully, if blocking all turns out. Now I invite you to set your knitting down and maybe take a standing break and just simply stand up. A new study in circulation found that you can reduce your blood pressure by standing up from a seated position at least 26 times in a day. So if you do a lot of sitting, even just simply standing will be beneficial. I won't stand because my head will be off the camera, so I'll stay seated. You can too if you want, or just fast forward through this. It's only a few minutes. So the first thing we'll do is extend your arm out, flex your hand down, and pull gently on your fingers. Relax your shoulders down. Take a big breath in and an exhale. Take a couple of wrist rolls, and we'll switch that up to the other side. Extending other arm out. Gentle pull on the fingers, relaxing the shoulders, breathing in. Couple more wrist rolls. And second and last final stretch, interlacing fingers. Turn them inside out. Stretch your arms forward. Take a deep breath in. Maybe raise your arms up and relax them down. And do you already feel increased circulation and energy just after a brief stretch? My parting images are seasonal scenes from where I live. We live in a tourist destination. That's right. Lancaster County is known for our Amish residents who lead almost a homesteading lifestyle with no electricity, with growing their own food and using horse and buggy for transportation. We're so grateful to be able to buy seasonal produce at the many roadside stands along our roadways, and many of them are run by Amish families. And finally, at the end of the day, I'm relaxing on an early fall evening, knitting and listening to the crickets sing. Thanks so much for visiting with me, and please leave your comments and like the podcast so that I know if I should continue with this type of content. Goodbye for now, and have a beautiful day.